Hey, my creative friends. My name is Shannon and I'm from shannonstudio.com. And we do creative life tips every day. So we just talk about things that will help us be creative, to live a creative life, things that might be of interest right now. Some of the things I'm doing in Sweden since I'm living here for a little while. So we just kind of try to bring up some interesting, fun things. And today, I'm going to, I'm going to bring up coronavirus. It's just because it's so prevalent right now and it's so much on our minds, and so many of us are home or altered what we're doing in a big way so that we can try to ease the burden of those who have to deal with this in an upfront way. Nurses, doctors, health professionals. So a lot of us have changed our behavior. And so with that, I know a lot of us have stayed home. Joseph is he's not staying home now. He's gone back to school. Sweden is taking a totally different approach. And it depends on some people have isolated. We isolated for 2.5 weeks. And anyways, so just the idea of staying home together, that's what we're going to talk about today. That, we're worried about the contagion that's out there that we can catch physically, but there is an emotional contagion that goes on. And I think probably if we spend any amount of time at home, you can see it, or any time with other people where somebody gets cranky and then all of a sudden everybody's cranky because that person's cranky, or somebody comes in and they're in a great mood, and so then everybody's in a great mood because this person has brought in that kind of emotions to the hey boyfriend, to the party, so to speak. So we can affect emotions of people around us, and we can take on emotions of people around us. And so like today, I'm going to tattle on the boyfriend since he's on, but today Joseph was like having a problem, just kind of being mouthy. And so, the natural instinct would be to be to respond the same way. But the boyfriend just took Joseph and held him, and Joseph just like calmed down right now, held him and just loved him. And Joseph caught on to Alan's mood. That was it. And I know that is not our first response, and that's not the easiest response. That takes a huge amount of discipline and a huge amount of inner conviction about things to be able to do that. But it's worthwhile to be able to have those kinds of skills and to practice those kinds of skills. Hey Tricia. So first off, I wanted to read this quote about how we are and tendencies that we have. It says that, I can't read it though. Okay, I got it. It says, babies are born, and this is from Judith Rich Harris. Babies are born with certain characteristics, certain tendencies to behave one way or another. These inborn tendencies are built upon and modified by the environment, that is, by each of the child's environments separately. Personality has two components, an inborn component and an environmental component. So yeah, if you've had multiple kids too, or if you've been around multiple kids for any extended period of time, especially if you've been able to see them from birth and how they've just grown up a little bit, they come with their own personalities. They do. I mean, I have 9 kids and they each have their own personalities. But then there are things that can help the personalities and help them learn to enhance the good things in their personalities and to temper the things that are not so great. So there's twofold that go on. And when we are kind of all stuck in our homes together and we are those things are going to play out, what we naturally bring and then what we environmentally can bring. So I've always been kind of interested in that, the whole idea of how we affect each other that way. How can go like wildfire through a house, or through a company, or through a work team, or through, any kind of group. It can have that effect. I remember my Aunt Chris, when she would wake up in the morning. I'm not a morning person. She would wake up in the morning and she would start singing, and she would be happy and bubbly, and it's so caught on. I felt it, and it changed how when I visited with her, changed totally how I felt. She was contagious. And right now, some of us can be catching on to the contagion in a negative way, because we're cooped up with each other. And then we go into the blame game. We start blaming each other. And here's a couple more quotes that I really liked. And this says, according to a study appearing, I can't see that word, in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology, blaming someone else for one's mistakes is a socially contagious condition. So blaming is contagious. So, then it goes on to say, the behavior literally spreads from one person to the next. The blame contagion contaminates mere witnesses to the finger pointing, and it affects their behavior in completely unrelated contexts. In the study, participants blamed others twice as much for their own personal failures. I mean, who doesn't do that? I mean, we don't want to be the bad guy, to be the one who's causing the problem. We just, that's a thing. And so we have to be realizing that we're susceptible to that. I mean, if witnesses will change because of what's going on, it's just, it has that possibility. So we're in this situation, we're home with our families, where emotions are contagious, and we need to blame each other. That could be a volatile situation. So what can we do? What are some of the things that we can do? I'm sure you have ideas about what we can do, and you can write them in the comments. There's just a couple things I'm gonna bring up. One of the things is to just own up to it. People who are in charge, like parents, we have the responsibility to own up to it and just say, I'm in a bad mood and I'm sorry, I don't, I'll just go in my room or whatever. Just own up to it. Part of it is saying that, yeah, I am here and being responsible for what's going on. It will cut down on blaming. It will cut down on doing those kinds of things. There's also, you can take responsibility and own up to it. Those are two different things. Take responsibility and change your behavior. Don't worry about trying to change everybody else's behavior, because we, by virtue of changing our own behavior, can change somebody else's. And there's another thing is which the boyfriend taught me, is to let it go. Let it go. For heaven's sakes, let it go. I can't remember which cartoon that comes from. You would remember, Alan. So, for heaven's sakes, you just got to let these things go. That's it. So we have to, at some point, let it go. I mean, as parents, we have to address certain behaviors. We have to, usually it's not best to address them right in the middle of the poor behavior. Usually it's the best time afterwards to address it. And we do have to address some things, but then we can let it go. We can just let it go, forgive, move on. There's going to be something else that somebody does. We don't have to worry about hanging on to the last one, because I'm sure there's something else that's going to come up. So let it go. So own up to it, take responsibility, let it go, and change the behavior. That was it. So those are things that can help us, especially in this time when we are all like 6 feet away from each other in the house. And so there's one more quote from Fulton J. Sheen. It says, Each of us makes our own weather, determines the color of the skies in the emotional universe which he inhabits. So I love that. We each make our own weather. We cannot continually blame somebody else for making it a miserable day for us, or this self-isolating is miserable because of the people I'm with. You can affect people around you. You can decide, I'm going to have a different approach today. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to own up if I do something. So those kinds of things. So I just wanted to pass that on as we continue on with the little COVID-19 thing of isolating. And maybe this will help. Also, write in the comments to share what you're doing or what you have found that works when you are in close proximity day after day after day. How is it helping? And then also maybe point out how people are being emotionally contagious in a good way. I see it on social media from people who are being the helpers, who are doing the fun things, who are being generous and hearing the stories. So there's that kind of emotional contagion that's going on too. So that is it for tonight. Remember, you have a creative heartbeat, so listen for it. Be creative when you're being isolated. And I will be back tomorrow. Bye.